I am working my way to doing 108 Sun Salutations by the Summer Solstice, for the Summer Solstice. I am a yoga teacher that is continuing to build on my sequencing skills, practicing my cueing for sequences and different asanas, as well as working on my individual practice, building my breath work, my time understanding what's working in my body, what modifications do I need to make to get through my day-to-day practice. So there's a couple of things that were just coming up as I was going through day one that I'll share with you all in the video, but it's really exciting to be able to just have this moment to talk through what's going on, practice the language a bit more, and start connecting the dots of what's happening while I'm doing yoga. So here's day one. Okay, so just getting set up on the mat and starting our Sun Salutations. So this one I'm just going through as a reminder of what a Sun Salutation is, and just thinking through what needs to come up. So I've also was exploring variations throughout this this practice, and so this first Sun Salutation, I'm going to do a forward fold and step back to do the full practice. Downward dog, chaturanga, standing back up, lifting our arms above our head. But so for this variation, I know there's so many different Sun Salutation, A, B, C, that are out there, and I know that some Sun Salutations have people take a step back and kind of do a lunge, and I'm not sure yet where all these kind of differ from, or are they based on modifications and how to walk people through Sun Salutations. Okay, and then for this Sun Salutation, I am doing a halfway lift, then stepping back into a high lunge, and not positive, right? That is what happens in Sun Salutation. It's not. But or where I saw that version from. But I will say now, okay, cool. Something that makes sense for high lunge is to do a halfway lift, then step back and come up into a high lunge. So not quite right for the Sun Salutation. If I fully understand the right version, I'm not confusing it, but something we learned along the way. And like I said, having my own practice, it's nice to kind of stop and do the wiggles that I need to in between my practice. Okay. So just stretching my body, doing what feels right, and kind of honoring the need for me to have to shake things out, because this practice in itself isn't that serious. intrusive thoughts are arriving. Just going with it. I'm realizing that I need to focus on my breathing as I'm doing my sun salutations. So these next couple sequences are dedicated to doing each of these steps with being mindful of the inhale and exhales that each of them is going to need to take. Also going through what I feel like sometimes I do like extra ins and outs with my hands going into prayer, mountain pose above my head. So that's something that I definitely want to focus on. And definitely recognizing that I'm starting to feel it in my shoulders. And mind you, I haven't done that many, but I'm doing like full plank downs, and so understanding like what's happening in my body. And then this is where I kind of just started thinking of like, okay, cool, what are some counter poses that I could be incorporating or that I'll need to do in my warm-up, so that I get ready for my sun salutations. this is something that I'll incorporate into future practices. Exhale, bending down, touching our toes. Inhale, halfway lift. Don't need that. Exhale, taking a step back into chaturanga. Pushing ourselves up into upward dog. And taking a few breaths, then exhaling, pushing ourselves back into downward dog. Inhale, walking up to the top of our mat, arms overhead, and exhale, bringing our hands to heart center. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, take a step back. Sometimes your intrusive thoughts win. You hold the pose a little bit longer. So this is where I started recognizing some contraindications that I can be doing in my flow. And so I'm just going through like what poses feel good, what things do I need to stretch out a little bit, and definitely some crossbody shoulder stretches is very helpful. Also, rolling on your back, super helpful. Like if you were to do a supine knees to chest and kind of get into a ball and roll around a little bit. So some side stretches, helpful. also just doing some modified hip openers. It's just what my body was calling for in the moment. And wanted to make sure I also just capture it so that as I'm building what warm-ups look like, I again just kind of know in my body what works and what doesn't, and what I may need to readjust. And I can't lie, I have been spending a lot of time just working through the movement in my body, but just getting back into the practice, and doing like a 2 mile walk a day, like my body is feeling different, and you know, don't want to rush myself through my practice all the time. It's the moment that I can do it for myself. So we're back in the Sun Salutations. Definitely, it's like our time going through the flow. Just noticing what's working for me, what's not working in my body, and then moving through in a more sequence flow, focusing on my breath. Inhaling, sweeping our arms up, exhaling, palms down to the ground. Inhale as we step back, exhale as we go down into a chaturanga flow. Pushing ourselves up, breathe cobra, pushing ourselves back into a downward dog. Inhaling, stepping up, inhaling, lifting our arms up and placing them down at our hearts. I'm like, even just talking through it, like I see what I'm doing, and even still getting the words confused. And I know as I'm going through my flows as well, right? Like I'll say one thing and then think another thing. I'll say one thing, think another thing, do another thing. And so a part of this practice for me over the next couple of days is to really navigate through those tongue ties of my sequencing words. focusing on flow for future students. And then making sure that as I'm doing the breathing, as I'm doing the full sequence for my own individual practice, that I'm making sure I'm doing the inhales and exhales for the movements. I think it's interesting when you do get to see some of these yoga charts and you see that like certain movements are plus signs and certain ones are minus signs, right? And it like just a exhale versus an inhale, or a exert versus a contract. And so doing these sun salutations is really giving me the opportunity to put it all together and talk through like what's happening and why it's happening, what's happening, why it's happening, what are the alternatives, and then just in a way that's not book repetitive. That doesn't stick. It sticks with me, right? Like I'm saying, I know the words and the terminologies, but it hasn't become like a part of my everyday vocab just yet. And so I'm really hoping that as I continue to go through this process, I just become more comfortable with cueing, with understanding modifications, going through flows, and really just taking the time to understand the foundations of yoga. I keep reading and hearing how like sun salutations are the original like first asana practice that one would learn, right? Because it's a full body and total experience. So I think that just coming back to this as I refocus in my yoga journey and start teaching more and discussing more, that like just taking this time on the basics helps go to that next level that I want to be at, because I got some yoga dreams and goals. Okay, and then what else is happening? So we're doing our wiggle thing right now. We're just stretching where it feels good to be stretched. I've done some more of those supine knees to chest, rolling in on our backs like a little ball, and then also a halsana. So that is where it's like it's also called the plow pose, right? Like where I put my legs kind of over my head, touching behind me, and like doing that spine and shoulder stretch, and doing it again, and that's like very helpful, and so I'm also like thinking through, oh cool, like this is no, not the best way to get into a shoulder stand, so won't even say that, but it helps the development of getting there. And so that'll be something that over the next couple of weeks I'll start doing as either like a warm-up pose or like a peak pose in my other practices, so that I get a really good stretch while also doing my cobra stretches and etc. Okay, now I'm just kind of going through my final sequence, putting into practice everything I learned for the day. So inhaling, arms up, exhaling, forward fold, taking a step back into chaturanga, down to the mat, and pushing ourselves up for a cobra, up dog, baby cobra. Then exhaling, pushing ourselves back to downward dog, and walking our feet forward. To stand up in front of our mat. And just coming down on my mat into a reflection. For the lovely weather, the chiming birdies, the trees, the grass that are supporting me. Thankful to the people that are around me, and just being in that moment. Namaste. Thankful for the practice and being able to go through a yoga experience. That's day one of Sun Salutations. Like I said, definitely learned a lot just about myself through the sequencing, things that I need to add to my warm ups. So, definitely the shoulders. If we're going to be doing 108 chaturangas, essentially like push ups, need the shoulders to be warmed up and strong. Also need the counter poses to the up dog and cobras. So making sure I do at least the warm down of laying on my back, rolling in the little ball. Cool down. Do that for the cool down. For the warm up, probably doing a hasana sounds crazy, but like making sure I'm doing some like back in motion, like curve back motion, like forward folds and stuff, gonna be important. Um, Focusing on my breath work as I'm doing these, and then taking care of my own personal stretches that I need to get out beforehand. So, my right wrist is pretty weak, as well as my right knee. So, those are just things that as I continue to build my practice, I need to make sure I take special time aside and do those specific warm ups and cool downs. But that's day one. Let's keep it going. Summer solstice is almost here. All right.